My parents have always been what you might call controlling. My dad, a retired factory manager, and my mum, a high school teacher, had this grand plan for my life. I was supposed to be a doctor, marry the son of my dad's business partner, and live happily ever after in a house 5 minutes away from them. Sounds like a dream, right? Well, not my dream. My passion was always art. I love painting, sketching, creating something beautiful out of nothing. But to my parents, artist was just another word for unemployed. The real battle started when I got accepted into a prestigious art school in another state. I was over the moon, my parents, not so much. My dad sat me down, his face stern. "You're throwing your life away," he said. "This is a foolish dream. You'll end up broke and begging us for money." My mom cried, pleading with me to reconsider. "Think about your future, your stability," she'd say. "Why can't you just be like other kids?" The pressure was immense. Every conversation turned into an argument about my life choices. They saw my dream as an act of rebellion, a personal slight against them. Despite their disapproval, I packed my bags. The day I left was heavy with unspoken words. My mom handed me an envelope with some money, but her eyes were cold. My dad just stood by the door, arms crossed. "You're making a huge mistake," were his parting words. My first year at art school was a whirlwind of freedom and creativity. For the first time, I felt like I was exactly where I was supposed to be. I made friends who understood my passion, and my professors praised my work. I was truly happy. But back home, the storm was brewing. Every phone call was a guilt trip. "We worrying about you all the time," my mom would sigh. "Your father's blood pressure is high because of you." They'd ask if I was eating properly. But what they really meant was, "Have you come to your senses yet?" They never once asked about my art or my classes. It was as if that part of my life didn't exist for them. The financial support they initially gave me dwindled. First, it was small comments about how expensive my supplies were. Then, they started forgetting to send money. I knew it was their way of trying to force me back home. So, I got a job. I worked part-time at a local cafe, juggling shifts between my classes and studio hours. It was exhausting. I was barely sleeping, living on instant noodles and coffee, but I was determined to make it on my own. I didn't want to give them the satisfaction of seeing me fail. I slowly stopped asking them for anything. Our calls became shorter, more strained. The emotional distance between us grew wider with each passing day. The breaking point came during a visit home for the holidays. I was excited to show them my portfolio, a collection of my best work from the semester. I thought, maybe if they saw how talented I was, how serious I was, they would finally understand. I laid my paintings and drawings out on the living room floor, my heart pounding with a mix of pride and anxiety. My dad walked in, took one look, and scoffed. "So this is what you're wasting your life on, doodles and paint splatters?" My mom just shook her head, a look of profound disappointment on her face. "We just want what's best for you," she whispered, as if that explained everything. That night, the argument was epic. Voices were raised. Old wounds were reopened. I told them I was an adult, and I had the right to choose my own path. My dad yelled that as long as I lived under his roof, I would follow his rules. "But I don't live under your roof anymore." I shouted back. The air crackled with tension. The next morning, as I was packing to go back to school, my mom came into my room. She didn't say a word, just watched me with an unreadable expression. Later, as I was waiting for my train, my phone buzzed. It was a text from her. The words felt like a punch to the gut. "You've made your choice. Don't contact us again." My world shattered. I stared at the screen, reading the words over and over. Disowned, just like that. The train ride back was a blur of tears. 4 weeks, I was a mess. The silence from them was deafening. I called, I texted, but my calls went to voicemail and my messages were left unread. It felt like a part of me had been amputated. My friends were my lifeline, offering shoulders to cry on and endless cups of tea. My art became my therapy. I poured all my pain, my anger, my confusion onto the canvas. My work became darker, more raw, but also more powerful. Life moved on. I graduated with honors and started making a name for myself in the local art scene. I sold my first major piece, then another. I got a gallery representation. I wasn't just surviving, I was thriving. I was proving my father wrong, day by day. I still thought about my parents, of course. The ache in my heart never truly went away. But I had built a new life, a new family of friends who supported me for who I was. Then, about 3 years after that final, soul-crushing text, the unthinkable happened. I was at my studio, working on a new commission, when my phone started ringing off the hook. It was an unknown number. I ignored it. It rang again. And again, and again. Annoyed, I finally picked up. It was my aunt, my mom's sister. She was hysterical. "Your father had a heart attack," she cried. "He's in the hospital. He's asking for you." My blood ran cold. Before I could even process the news, my phone started buzzing with notifications. Missed calls, voicemails, texts, all from my mother's number. I opened my call log, 58 missed calls. I listened to the first voicemail. It was my mom, her voice choked with sobs. Please come home," she begged. "Your father ... he needs you. We need you. We were wrong. We were so wrong. Please, just answer the phone." Every voicemail was a variation of the same desperate plea. The same woman who had coldly cut me out of her life was now begging me to come back. I sat there, stunned, the phone heavy in my hand. Part of me felt a twisted sense of vindication. "See, you do need me." But mostly, I just felt a profound sadness. Sadness for the years we lost, for the pain we all went through. It took a life-threatening event for them to realize the value of family over pride. I took a deep breath and booked the next flight home. The reunion at the hospital was ... complicated. My dad was weak but stable. When he saw me, his eyes filled with tears. "I'm sorry," he whispered, his voice raspy. "I'm so proud of you." My mom couldn't stop hugging me, repeating how sorry she was, how much they missed me. It was everything I had wanted to hear for years, but it was bittersweet. Rebuilding our relationship isn't easy. There's a lot of hurt to unpack, a lot of trust to rebuild. But for the first time, they're trying. They ask about my art. They even framed a print of one of my paintings and hung it in the living room, right where my portfolio was once dismissed. It's a small gesture, but it means the world. Sometimes you have to lose everything to realize what truly matters. And sometimes it takes 58 missed calls to finally start a conversation that should have happened years ago. Thanks for watching.